Okay, in this segment, what we're going to do is go ahead and walk through hooking a round baler up to the tractor and also getting the tractor prepared for the round baler. So before you back up to the round baler, a couple of things we need to do on the tractor. First of all, we want to get our space between our back tires to just about or very close or match the width of the bale chamber of the baler. This baler is a 5-foot round baler. Okay, this is a 569. The other one would be like a 4-foot wide baler. So either 4 or 5 feet. So you really like to get your back tires as close to that 5 feet as possible. This one here is about 4.5. I'd like to have it just a little bit wider, but with the steel clamp wheels, I'm out about as wide as I can get. The front tires, there's 5 feet between the front tires. So get your tires, your wheels out as far as you can. Like I say, we like them at least the width of the bale chamber if we can. Otherwise, you tend to drive over crop, it gets decompressed, you don't pack your side sheets, that kind of thing. So that's a very, very important step right there. The other piece on the tractor is the drawbar. There's 2 settings on the drawbar that you need to be aware of. First of all is drawbar height. We like this to be anywhere from 16 to 20 inches from the ground to the top of the drawbar. Different tire sizes, different tractors, and things like that can change this. And sometimes on older tractors and things, you might have to flip your drawbar around, upside down, so that the curve is up. That kind of thing in order to get close to that range, but as close to that range as possible. If you're too far down, on anything older than a 9 series round baler, this can cause your pickup to be squeezed up, and you won't be able. Basically, the pickup opening won't be as wide, and you'll lose capacity. If it's too high, then your pickup may not get to the ground. So, if you're outside of that range, and you have a 9 series round baler, we actually have a hitch adjustment right over here. There's 4 bolts on each side of the hitch here, and we can move this up and down to adjust our baler height so that essentially this right here is in that 16 to 20 inch range. Refer to your operator's manual. It will show you where to put these, what position to put these in should you have to do that. Most tractors today are pretty close. This one here, as we could see, was about 17 inches. This tractor is good to go. The other measurement is from the PTO shaft, the end of the PTO shaft, to the center of the draw pin hole. There's 2 settings here. 14 inches for a 540, which this baler is, and this one is 14 inches, and 16 on 1,000 RPM machines. There's 2, basically on the newer tractors today, there is 2 holes on the drawbar underneath here that you can move that, and they line up well. Some of your older tractors and stuff, there's still, the holes are there, but sometimes they're 15.5 inches or sometimes just a little bit off, but get it as close as you can. So then, once we get the tractor prepared, then we'll go ahead and back up to it, and we'll drop our pin, and then this is your lock. So this locks your pin down so that it doesn't come out. Then we'll go ahead and hook up our safety chain. A lot of times I like to just kind of run it through here, and you don't want too much slack. Hook it around there. Then we're ready to hook up the PTO shaft. The nice thing about a John Deere round baler, the PTO shaft, is that it is a constant velocity joint up here. It has 60 degrees of free rotation, and it has a lockback collar. So when you slide that on there, it's really easy because you can turn it a little bit, and then the lockback collar allows it to lock in place. Very, very nice. Okay, PTO shaft is hooked up, and like I said, because of the constant velocity joint that's right in here, we're not as concerned about the angle of the drive line. Once we get that hooked up, then we need to hook up our hydraulics. Depending on what options you have on the round baler, we'll tell you how many hydraulics you're going to have. The first one you're always going to have is your gate. This opens and closes your gate. I like to put that on the number 1 SCV. The ones we have in the number 2, we have hydraulic pickup on this baler, and so that allows us to not have to get out of the tractor to crank the pickup up if we're going down the road or if there's a big ditch or something. So we've got hydraulic pickup, so that takes up our second SCV. And of course, we want to hook up our implement lights, our warning lights, and then we have to hook up our monitor. So this is we call this the Baler harness. This is the monitor harness. It comes out of the cab. This is a Deutsch connector, and this connector right here, it's you got to exercise when you're hooking it up. You got to exercise a couple things: patience and gentleness, I guess, would be the two. Reason being is if you get upset or get impatient with this, it's very easy to bend pins or even break pins off up in here, and you don't want to do that. So what I like to do, if you look real close at this, you'll notice that there's a little wide tab right there. What I like to do is go up here and look, and I like to find the slot where that goes, and then it's real easy to just kind of get them close, and you'll feel it. It'll kind of snap into place, and all you got to do is turn this and it'll click shut for you. Okay, don't get in a hurry with this right here. And if it's not hooking up for you and you get angry, the best thing to do is just walk away from it, because it can be a little bit frustrating. Okay, and then once we get the Baler monitor or the Baler harness hooked up, then the last thing I like to do is get all our hoses and wires and Baler and harnesses tied up out of the way. So one, they aren't getting into the PTO shaft. Number 2, they aren't getting into the tire. And number 3, they aren't dragging on the ground. And I tell you, the best thing to do that I have found is just to take a bungee cord, just like this, and take it right around your 3-point arm and bungee cord it however you want it. But ultimately, you keep it tight right there, and then your wire, your harnesses, and your hoses and everything will stay out of the way for you, and so you don't catch them on anything. And with that, that is hooking up a John Deere round baler. All right, so what we're going to do here is we're going to walk through how to load net wrap in a John Deere round baler. Okay, so there's 2 kinds of net wrap. You've got cover edge, and then you've got edge to edge. The edge to edge net wrap only covers the bale from the edge of it to the edge of it. Cover edge covers it'll go down over the corners, and it's nice because it keeps your torners tucked together and keeps the bale nice and tight. This is cover edge net wrap right here, and so it's going to go over the edges. So when we load the net wrap, first thing is you got to get the net wrap roll in there the right way. So this right here is our net wrap tray, and so we rock that out and we set our net wrap roll up on here. There's 2 things to look at. Number 1, there's 3 dark green stripes on the left-hand side of the net wrap roll. Those go to the left-hand side. Left-hand side being as if you were staring at the back of the baler or sitting in the tractor seat. Your left is your left and right is right. Or what I like to do is I always like to take the net and bring it over the top and down. So over the top and down the back. And that's how I wrap it. But the 3 stripes or that method will work fine. Then you roll your net wrap up in there, just like that. And then you come down here. You want to make sure you get everything kind of grabbed. And then what you do is you pull your net wrap down. Make sure you kind of got it all started. And then just take and twist the net wrap around just like this. And then you take and you just stick it up in there and hold it up in there. And then you reach over to this side over here. You release your brake. And then you just take and start pumping that brake. And then you lock it. Give it a little tug. It's in there good enough. It doesn't have to go in there very far. Just enough to kind of hold that securely like that. Then go ahead and cut your net wrap. But do not ever cut. Do not ever cut against any one of these rolls. Otherwise you'll wreck the rolls and you'll pinch net and then it'll wrap every time. So once you got that, your brake locked over there, that'll get it started just like that. And you close your net wrap door and you're ready to go make hay. All right, in this session here, what we're going to do is we're going to go through just the basics of the John Deere round baler monitor, how to start it up, how to get it hooked up. So first things first, I like to mount the monitors up here in the front corner of the cab, because with the John Deere round balers, you really shouldn't have to look back much. It should be pretty well look ahead baling. And so you're looking ahead and you're watching your windrow as you're driving. It's nice to have your monitor right there where you can be watching your bale size and your bale shape. So I like to mount it up there in the corner. Second thing, the round baler monitor draws its power from the 3-pin convenience outlet. Most of the newer tractors, all the newer tractors and stuff, will have this convenience outlet. When you get into some of your older ones, your 30, 40, 50, 55, 60 series tractors, they don't have this convenience outlet. So we actually have a kit, a convenience outlet kit that has the harness and the outlet, and you run that right to the battery so that you get straight 12-volt power. These monitors require a pretty good source, a good source of power, because there's a Twine actuator and a net wrap actuator on the baler, and those two pull quite a bit of current, and so you got to have a good power supply. So we turn our key on, and then we turn our monitor on. When you turn it on, I'm going to turn it back off and turn it on. You'll notice that there was a 569 that came up. What that tells us is that it is set on, the baler model should be matched to the monitor. So this is a 569 baler on here, and so that showed up, so we know that's good. When this screen comes up here, you got your gate closed icon, you got your bale shape bars about halfway up, and you got dashes in your bale size down here, then you know the baler is happy. When you fire that thing up for a split second, it goes out and it checks all the switches and sensors and makes sure everything's where it should be. And if it likes it and it's happy, then it's going to come up here to this screen and you're ready to bale. So when we get started, first thing you're going to do is you want to set your bale size, and that's this button right here. Right now it's at 66. The 569 baler will make up to a 72-inch bale. So we can take this on up to 72 inches, or we can go down a long ways wherever we want it. Okay, if we're doing silage hay or something like that, you know, we'd want it the size a lot smaller. What I recommend is that if you want to make a 60-inch bale, I would recommend setting the monitor at 58 or 59, because when it goes to, when you get a full bale, by the time you get stopped, you'll probably add an inch or two to that bale. The monitor is just it's just a little bit behind, so I would set it 2 inches less, and that'll get you about right where you want it. When this thing, when it gets up to that 59 or 60 inches, whatever you have this set at, it will go through and it will automatically tie for you. In other words, it'll give you a stop icon, and then it'll start to go through its wrapping cycle. And then when it's done, it'll beep at you, and then you just have to eject the bale. So let's talk about some of these other buttons a little bit. So here's the on-off key. Right underneath it is the Twine and net wrap. Okay, I've got it on Twine right now, and I push and hold, and I can change over to net wrap. There's a couple of things to know about net wrap. The bale turns in the chamber about every 3 seconds. So it's real easy to figure out what your wrapping time is going to be with net wrap. You push this button right here, this is your number of wraps when you're in net wrap. I recommend in net wrap that you put 2 wraps, at least 2 wraps on, and then always go wrap it past just a little more where it started. So like 2.5 wraps is pretty good. If you've got the speed compensation system, which is a speed sensor on the main clutch and the pickup clutch, slip clutch, then no matter what RPM you're running, if you put 2.5 wraps in here, it's going to put 2.5 wraps. If you don't have that system, then if you want 2.5, you're probably going to have to cheat it up a little bit if you're not running at full rated 540 or 1000 RPM. So that's your number of wraps. So it's easy to figure out what your wrapping time would be. 3 times 2.5 is going to get you at about 7 seconds for wrapping. So that's net wrap. So when you get to 60 inches, or whatever you have this set at, and it goes through its automatic cycle, there's nothing you really have to do except eject the bale. But if you get to the last part of the field and you only have enough hay left for maybe a 50-inch bale or something like that, you get to the end, it won't automatically tie for you because it's not up to 60 inches. You can hit this button right here, this wrap key, and it'll go through a wrap cycle for you. Okay, the last key on, so we went through net. Now let's go through twine. So twine, you push and hold this button again, and it switched over to twine for us. Then we come back over here. There's two twine spacing settings that you gotta set. First of all, back on the baler, there's two twine arms, and so we have to set the physical distance between the two twine arms. There's 4 holes that you can use: 2, 4, 6, and 8-inch spacing setting. Then you come up here, and when you're in the twine mode, then this actually, so it's at 4 inches. It actually will control the speed of the twine arms as they're going across. So you should have pretty consistent 4-inch spacing all the way across the bale. Then we want to set our number of end wraps. On each end of the bale, it's going to stop. You want to put just a couple more wraps of twine around there because that cinches the end down and keeps it tight. So this is our left-hand end wraps. And right, you can see that there's a number 2 in there, and that's increased. You can increase that by tenths. Now that number, if you have 2 in here, that doesn't necessarily mean 2 end wraps. It's just a relative number, and at the end of the day, more is more and less is less. Okay, look at the bale and see if you're happy with how many end wraps. So this is your left, and this is your right side number of end wraps. Then we got the distance from the end of the bale to where the end wraps are going to be. Right now I've got it's at 4 inches, but you can go all the way up to 10 inches. And like the net wrap too, if it's not, you don't have a full-size bale, you can push this and it'll wrap for you. The last button I want to go through down here is your counter key. So there's 2 numbers here. The first one is adjustable. This is your field count. So you can adjust that and set it, and you can get your field count. The second one is the total bale count. And this is basically like the odometer on your car. You cannot change it. Okay? The monitor and the baler are matched up, and they should pretty well be for life. And so the monitor keeps the number of bales counted, so you know how many bales is on the baler. The screen up here, there's a few icons that can come up. First of all, like I said, when you fire up the baler and you come over here, you should see your gate up close icon. Your bale shape bars should be halfway up, and then you should have your bale size down here as dashes. When it gets close to near full, so 4.5 inches before, in this case, 60 inches, so at 55.5 inches, it's going to beep at you and tell you you're nearly full. And you've got 4.5 inches to get all your bars to the top up here in the green before it tells you to stop, and it goes through an automatic wrap cycle. Wrapping started. So when you stop and it starts wrapping automatically, this icon's going to come right up here, and it's going to tell you that it's wrapping. And then when it gets done wrapping, it's going to tell you to go ahead and eject the bale. The variable core, you can turn that on or off, and it's an option on the baler. This baler doesn't have that option, but it is an option that you get. What variable core does is basically you can lower the pressure, a hydraulic pressure of the baler, and make a softer bale if you have cows that maybe have some older teeth or things like that, some older cows. The gate open icon, the alarm up here, a lot of times if something's wrong with the baler, you'll get a stop alarm up here, and that means stop. The gate open icon just means that the gate is open. Oversized bales. So this baler will make up to a 72-inch bale. But you can keep feeding the baler after that for a few inches. But you definitely don't want to do that, because after you get over 72 inches, the forces inside the baler go up very, very quickly. and you can cause damage to the baler. So if it gets up over 72 inches, this is going to let you know. The net wrap icon, if it's in net wrap and it's wrapping, the net wrap icon will come up. The low voltage, at the beginning we talked about that we need a good power supply out of our convenience outlet, and if we don't have a good power supply, this low voltage light will come on. And then obviously the bale size is right here, and then when you actually eject a bale, the number of bales will come up on there. The field count and bales will come up right here, will flash at you. So that's everything on the monitor right there. That's pretty much what you need to know to be able to bale with this thing and get yourself started.